Welcome back to Neuroconversant Leadership, where we talk about effective communication in the neurodiverse workplace or wherever else communication happens. I'm Jeremy Doran, and I help great engineers become great leaders. Have you simply stopped talking about politics because of the arguments that it causes? Would you like to talk about your ideas but get frustrated by how unproductive those conversations are? With the election coming up, it seems like this might be the right time to talk about this again. At the time of this recording, we are less than a month from the presidential election, and I must say our country seems as polarized as it's ever been. I'm not sure that's accurate. We've been through things like the Civil War, Vietnam protests, segregation. There's been a lot that has divided the country, but I must admit that it feels more divided than it has in times past. One reason why politics is so polarizing is because it's pretty important. It talks about things like immigration, taxes, human rights, all of which have a lasting effect on us and even on our children. So it can cause distress when talking about it. Before the last presidential election, I was having a discussion about politics, and it was frankly getting pretty heated. And it got to the point where he was mocking some of my positions, which, first of all, don't do that. If half of the country feels a certain way on a topic, then it's not a ridiculous position. If almost half the people believe in it, then it's reasonable that a person would. You may not agree with it, but it's not something that should be mocked. And when you're mocking the idea, you're essentially mocking and belittling the person. So it's a personal attack, and that doesn't make conversations go any better. The second problem with it is some of the positions he was mocking weren't even ones that I believed in. What he was doing was extrapolating a position that I talked about and made the assumption that I felt a certain way on other positions. Just a little bit about me. I don't agree across the board with either party. There are some ideas that I think are great from one side, great from the other side, plenty of things I disagree with on either or both sides. Personally, I think that's how everyone should be. I don't think that anyone should just vote down the party lines, because once you do that, you're actually just being a follower and you've stopped actually thinking. I found that for me personally, if someone does do that, then it's not worth for me to have a debate with them at all. It just never goes well. I digress. Anyway, I challenged him to pick 6 topics, and I would tell him my position on each one. Once he did that, he picked 6 that he was sure of where I landed on those, and on 4 of them, I was the polar opposite of what he expected. And he was stunned. And after that, the conversation got better, at least for a while. So what are some things that you can do in a political or any other contentious conversation? First one is always to actively listen, and sometimes I switch it to actually listen. Sometimes people seem like they're listening, but they're not really. When you're actually actively listening, it means you're really trying to understand their point of view, and not just their point of view, but why they had that point of view. Second thing to remember is it's not personal. If they attack what you think or the position you hold, they just have a different point of view. And remember, in reverse, it's also not personal. Just because you can't stand their point of view on something, remember, this is still a friend of yours or a family or a loved one. So separate the positions on different political topics from the person themselves. And don't make it personal. Once you start saying things like, you Democrats or you Republicans, it starts sounding pretty attacky. So don't do that. And lastly, don't tell them what they think. Don't make the assumption. What was so frustrating about the conversation I mentioned before was that he would just tell me my position on a topic, and very often it was wrong. Don't make assumptions. I talk about that in this podcast a lot. Assumptions cause so many problems in communication. If you're having a political debate, if they haven't said their position on an individual topic, don't just make the assumption about how they think. So, with the political season coming up, and then after that, holidays, where a bunch of people are going to talk about what happened in the election already, just keep those things in mind. Don't make it personal. Don't make assumptions. Don't attack the other person and just actually actively listen and try to understand. Thank you so much for listening to Neuroconversant Leadership. If you found this beneficial, can you do me one small favor? It'll be quick, I promise. Can you go and give this podcast a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever it is that you listen before doing anything else? Unless you're driving. If you're driving, then I need you to keep driving. And then when you're done and parked, then go ahead and give me a review. Hopefully 5 stars, but whatever you are comfortable honestly giving. Thank you and have a great day.